Good morning, church. Jonathan Chang here, pastor of student ministry, and I'm just thankful for the privilege to be able to chat with you all about what is in my heart or what I'm experiencing in today's Devo. For those unaware, student ministry, we had our annual winter retreat called City Lights about almost a month ago, right before the great freeze of 2021. In this weekend, students gather together and they worship in song, and they spend intentional time in their 242 grow groups, and they learn biblical truths, and they serve as is given in Acts 2:42. Now, that Friday that I met with the students, I was a speaker this year just because of the craziness of the season. But I spent some time talking to the students about a season of weariness that I have been in, and how to deal and cope with this discouragement and downcastedness. And Psalm 138 is a psalm that I want to spend some time in sharing with you all, as well as I have with some of the students and those that have been in my inner circle, as they have helped counsel and encourage me through this time. But it reads this: I give you thanks, O Lord, with my whole heart. Before the gods I sing your praise. I bow down toward your holy temple and give thanks to your name for your steadfast love and your faithfulness. For you have exalted above all things your name and your word. On the day I called, you answered me. My strength of soul you increased. All the kings of the earth shall give you thanks, O Lord, for they have heard the words of your mouth, and they shall sing of the ways of the Lord, for great is the glory of the Lord. For though the Lord is high, he regards the lowly, but the haughty he knows from afar. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. You stretch out your hand against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand delivers me. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the work of your hands. This psalm has given me so much hope and encouragement just because of the way David, the author of it, sings of ways to thank God in all aspects. We see in verse 3, on the day I called, you answered me. My strength of soul you increased. In his prayer, God answered David, and he gave his spirit a boldness to persevere, to press on. And as he continues in verse 6, for though the Lord is high, he regards the lowly, but the haughty he knows from afar. You see, God knows everything. Because he is a good God, a loving God, he knows everything that is going on with David. Not just David, but every single person that he has created. Even those that are the lowly. Whether they are physically low in today's society or they are low in spirit, God remembers them. In verse 7, though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. You see, this season of trouble and weariness, and I would even use the word depression, right? God preserves our lives. And when he preserves our lives means he helps us. He carries us. He reminds us of his goodness. And part of the way he reminds us is in Christian community and fellowship. And as I shared earlier, my inner circle of people that I share my struggles with, God has shown his glory and grace through these people as well in regards to helping encourage me to press on in this season. And because of that, I thank him, just as David thanked God in this. Because he has stretched out his right hand. God literally stretches out his hand to comfort us. I know a lot of this is really repetitive, but repetition for me helps me remember truth. And the truth is, we thank God in all circumstances in this psalm. And so I remember that he carries me in the midst of my struggles. He strengthens my spirit. He reaches out to me for me to remember that he is there and that I'm not alone. And he delivers me. He delivers me. Because in the end, in verse 8, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. His steadfast love endures forever. My purpose for God is to live for him, to honor him, to glorify him in all things that I do, even when I am downcast. And I love this because it remembers that I have purpose. Because when you are discouraged and you are downcast and depressed, you sometimes forget that you have purpose. That's a question that I've sometimes asked myself, and this psalm remembers that God will fulfill his purpose for me and allows me to focus on the truth that God is good, that God has a plan and he is in control, because his steadfast love endures forever. So be encouraged today. Know that you are not alone. Know that God is reaching his hand out to you, reaching out to comfort you, to remind you that he loves you, and he is there with you every step of the way, in the good times and the bad times. Have a blessed day.